We've got bad Popo here in Arizona and around the world, but today we've got a good Popo as well because we have this convergence of a bad Popo and a good Popo in this next story because one officer arrested another officer on suspicion of DUI. We're talking about Officer Julian Navarrette, who is actually here in Arizona. He's a Pinal County Sheriff's Officer. Pinal County is one county over from Maricopa County. And so he is now in some serious hot water, and we're going to pour some gas on that. So let's take a quick look at what's going on here. This is over from NBC News. Says a new video shows Arizona deputy use a racial slur and then beg for release after a DUI stop. Very bad Popo. No racial slurs. That's bad. And you should not try to use your position as law enforcement to get out of custody. He says, this says, newly obtained body camera video captured an Arizona sheriff's deputy using a racial slur and pleading to be let off the hook after an officer pulled him out of a vehicle in December on suspicion of DUI. Pinal County Sheriff's Deputy Julian Navarrette was stopped after an Arizona State University police officer observed him speeding and swerving at about 2 a.m. on December 5th. All right, so some time ago. According to ASU police report, Navarrette was out with friends at the time of the arrest, the report said. When the ASU officer confronted the off deputy about driving under the influence, video obtained by NBC, which we're going to show you, he says he's admitting, saying, yeah, I was drinking, but I'm also a police officer, okay? This type of crap happens all the time. And I repeatedly say that this is a problem, that the police, they have that blue shield, that blue code of silence. You can look it up. I think there's a Wikipedia entry about this. But essentially, you know, cops, when they catch other cops doing bad things, they circle the wagons, they give everybody a pass, they flash their badge. Oh, you're a cop too. All right, listen, man, just, you know, don't do it again, go home, whatever. And that happens very regularly. And I have a huge problem with that because it's one cop allowing another bad cop to get away with bad things. And the cops are supposed to be the enforcers of the law, the upholders of the law, not the people who bend the rules for their friends and colleagues. So that was starting to happen here. Okay, this deputy, Julian Navarrette, is like, hey, I'm a cop. I'm a police officer. Give me a break, my friend. Cop number 2 doesn't comply. He asks, how much have you had to drink tonight? Says the arresting officer, just a couple drinks. Navarrette flashed the officer his badge, according to footage. Officer then asked Navarrette to step out of his car after confirming he worked for the sheriff's office. Navarrette says, I've done this whole spiel, man. What are we going through? Navarrette said in response, can we let anybody else in the vehicle go through this? Can we let anybody else in the vehicle go through? So it's this guy right here. Very bad Popo. Here he is from the body camera. He's in Arizona. He's around here. Navarrette. Now, I want to point this out, right? It says he whips out his badge. He flashes his badge, the officer, shows the other officer his badge. Now, two ways to interpret this, right? Of course, one way is to the benefit of the officer. Law enforcement, hey, we're both law enforcement. I'm supposed to show you that I'm law enforcement. Typically that's part of their policies and procedures. Hey, if you're stopped, if you're law enforcement, notify them that you're law enforcement. And they justify this for officer safety and communication, and right, just to communicate with each other. There's no other reason that that's required. Like, you're not going to give them a benefit of the doubt. You're not going to give them a warning if you find out that they're an officer instead of a ticket, are you? Of course not. Of course they would. They would never do that. But they do have to communicate it from one officer to another. So that's the benefit of the doubt reading, right? It's him saying, hey, FYI, I'm an officer. I actually have a firearm in here. I'm somebody who knows, how this procedure works. What do you need from me? I'm going to be totally compliant. You can let your guard down. I'm going to be working with you. What do you need from me? That's one way to do it. Or it's like this guy. Can we let anybody else in the vehicle go through this? I've done this whole spiel, man. So what does that look like under the law? Can you be charged with a crime for something like that? Let's take a quick gander. So we have impersonating a public servant, right? A person commits impersonating a public servant. Now you can say he's not impersonating a public servant, right? Because he is actually a public servant. Yeah, but not in this capacity, not on that particular day. So if he's throwing this out there, if he pretends to be a public service, if he says, hey, I'm an officer like right now, and I'm engaging in any conduct with the intent to induce another to submit to his pretended official authority or to rely on his pretended official acts. Well, maybe this could be a class 1 misdemeanor, right? Potentially, maybe. person who knowingly attempts by means of bribery or misrepresentation, this is a different statute, obstruction of criminal investigations, maybe misrepresentation, intimidation, or force or threats to delay, prevent the communication of information or testimony relating to a violation of a statute to a peace officer, magistrate, prosecutor, or grand jury. Oh, okay. Bribery, misrepresentation, intimidation. Maybe intimidation is a good one. Maybe you could say that this officer was saying, hey, I'm a deputy. Here's my badge. That type of stuff is a crime. Other people get charged with crimes for this stuff. Okay, if you get stopped and you say, listen, I'm on the board of something. We have a lot of power here. So why don't you let me go? Otherwise, maybe there'll be repercussions coming for you. Guess what? That's a crime, right? You're not allowed to make those types of implied threats. Now, not saying this guy did that, but if you start flashing your badge around, it's kind of that little bro code that's going on. All right, so we have some more from the article. Then we're going to take a quick look at the video. ASU officer said it didn't matter if he's a deputy. He said, well, then that puts my job at risk, right? Navarrette said. Officer responded, you don't think it's going to put mine at risk if I don't do this? Navarrette responds, dude, I understand, but can I maybe someone else put like behind the wheel, Navarrette said. Don't put my effing career at risk. He pleaded for his release again. ASU officer said, this isn't New York, man. He said, New York? He says the N-word. N-word, probably an N, and probably ending with an A, if you want to guesstimate what that word is. From Navarrette. He says, I'm from Arizona, dude. I'm not from New York. After the ASU officer conducted a field sobriety test, Navarrette took a breathalyzer test, blew a .121, which is over the legal limit of .08 in Arizona, but it's under the extreme DUI, which is at a .15. Navarrette was arrested on DUI charge, taken into custody at the ASU police station. Then Navarrette asked the officer why he didn't give him a pass, according to the footage. He said, you couldn't effing give me the opportunity to park the car. He said, no one reported it. Very bad Popo. Now we have a good Popo who responds and says, listen, the fact that you're telling me that tells me you shouldn't be an officer. Bravo, ASU officer. Well done. Spokesman for the Pinal County Sheriff's Office told KPNX that Navarrette was initially placed on modified duty. During that time, he was prohibited from driving a patrol car. Well, probably because his license was suspended at that time. So the way that it works is if you get charged with a DUI, your license is suspended for 90 days in Arizona. 30 days total suspension. The next 60, you can get a restricted license. So if he got stopped on December 5th, then right about now is when he would be getting his license back. So of course he was on modified duty. His license was suspended. So he can't drive a patrol car. So you have a law enforcement officer who can't even drive a car because he's facing criminal charges, who's on modified duty. He rode with another deputy while taking regular calls for service. All right, here's a video.
Drinking, dude, and you were driving. Yeah, but I'm also a police officer.
ASU cops pulling over Pinal County Sheriff's Deputy Julian Navarrette after a night out in Tempe back in December.
Hey, how much you had to drink tonight, man? It's a couple drinks.
Around 2 in the morning, an ASU police officer pulling Navarrette over near McClintock and University, saying he saw the then 26-year-old speeding and swerving. Navarrette quickly showing the officer his badge.
Who do you work for, Pinal? Pinal.
The officer says he smelled of alcohol, asking Navarrette to step out of the car.
Can we let anybody else in the vehicle go through this?
Navarrette asking the officer to consider the fact that he's in law enforcement too.
It doesn't matter if you're an officer or not. Then that puts me my job at risk, right? You don't think it's going to put mine at risk if I don't do this? Dude, I understand. But can I maybe someone else put behind the wheel? Don't put my career at risk.
The Pinal County Sheriff's deputy then using a racial slur.
This isn't New York, man. Okay? New York? I'm from Arizona, dude. Watch your mouth.
Navarrette blew a .121. The officers arrest him for driving under the influence. Back at the police station, Navarrette continuing to ask the ASU officer why he couldn't let him off the hook.
You couldn't Gave me opportunity to park a car. No one reported. The fact that you're telling me that tells me you shouldn't be an officer.
A spokesperson for the Pinal County Sheriff's Office says the department initially put Navarrette on modified duty, but now PCSO confirms he's back to regular duty, declining to comment further, saying he's currently the subject of an internal investigation related to this incident. 12 News briefly spoke with him on the phone.
No, thank you. I'm not make a statement this time.
Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right, so yeah, sounded like he was trying to talk his way out of that, and that other officer, to his credit, very, very good Popo. Want to make sure that we acknowledge that. Don't know that officer's name, but he says you should not be an officer if you are trying to get out of this citation. Bad officer, good officer, both there together. Let's wrap up this story. Spokesman from Pinal County said that he was initially placed on modified duty during that time, like as I said, prohibited from driving a car, rode with another deputy. However, on Monday, he returned to regular duty. So this officer is back on duty as of yesterday. Spokesman declined to comment further, but said that Deputy Navarrette is currently the subject of an internal investigation related to this incident. As such, we cannot discuss the case. ASU Police Department said our officers handled themselves in a professional manner, as they would with any subject they encounter. Outstanding work, gentlemen. Navarrette told the news station he did not want to make a comment, and they tried to catch him today. They were not able to catch him either. So, very bad Popo. Now, of course, the police department, they just, whatever. You're back on regular duty. You figure it out. You think you're innocent? Yeah, you're going to contest it in court? All right, great. So, not good. Not good. Bad Popo there. Let's take some questions over from locals.com. We want to say hey to Hack Consulting. Says, people keep forgetting that while cops are humans, cops are still a job. Reforms are done with police are bad, and also when police are not shining everyone's shoes. Haven't gotten shot yet, but I do my best to make sure that I lessen my chances of being shot. It's a good strategy. Something that everybody should try to do. Lessen your chances of being shot. I only talk nicely with cops when talking about things unrelated to whatever is going on. They are off duty, and when the hardest part of the stop is over and rapport is capable. Yeah, that's a good comment there, Hack Consulting, and I think that's relevant, right? Cops are just people. So they're not 100% heroes. They're also not 100% monsters. They're not 100% racists or 100% anti-racist, right? They are people. There are good cops, amazing cops, incredible, outstanding cops. We wish we had millions of them. And there are some pretty bad ones. And there are some in between. And I think the only way that we can really see some meaningful reform in our system is with accountability and transparency. We have to open up that box and see what's inside before we can start really working on any meaningful solutions. And so those are great questions. I want to thank you for sending all of those over. And so we're going to wrap up for the day. We got some things we got to get to before we close out the show. Before we do, I want to tell you where I'm going after this. I'm going to have dinner. I have some very special people in town, my aunt and uncle, and I want to say hello to them. I think they're watching the show right now. In fact, let's give them a shout out. Hello, Uncle Joe and Aunt Bev. Welcome to Arizona. These are two very important people in my life, and I wanted to tell you a quick story about them, actually. So they're in town. They come in town every now and then. And Uncle Joe has been somebody who's been in my life for a long period of my whole life, right? He's my oldest uncle. So my mom is one of 7 people. Uncle Joe is the oldest. He's sort of the kind of the patriarch of the family, the eldest that everybody kind of looks up to, gives us some guidance. And in my life, he's always been somebody who has been the person with answers. And it'd be fun, growing up, I would come to him with questions and I would ask his opinion on certain things. He's extremely, highly educated. He's somebody who is, had a very, very impressive career in medicine, very intellectual, extremely intelligent. And so in my life, he's been somebody that I've always kind of looked up to. And he's actually been relatively instrumental in my political disposition and sort of some of the things that I think about that I talk about on this show. I've had Uncle Joe in my life, my whole life growing up. And so there have been some things that have stuck with me as I have matured. And so one of the things I was thinking about as I wanted to give him a shout out today, when I was young, remember, we've gone through so many different sort of health phases in my life, and they changed dramatically. I don't even know which one we're on now. Are we on vegan still? Is it gluten-free still? I don't know if it's paleo or keto. I can't keep track anymore. Is it the 1 meal a day? Is it the carnivore diet? The plant-based, whatever. I can't tell, right? It's very complicated. And so when I was growing up, we were in one of those cycles, and I forget what the heck, whatever it was. But we were having a conversation about this, and my Uncle Joe lives up in Seattle, Oregon, up in that area. He's got properties up there. And so we were having a conversation about it, and we were asking about how it was living in that part of the country. We all know that there are special people in that country, especially politically. And one of the first things, I was a teenager, he called them something that stuck with me. I think I was 12, 13, 14, whatever. He called them granola crunchers. He said, all of these granola crunchers up there in Yakima, Washington, or whatever, they're making life difficult. And so that just sort of stuck with me, right? These granola crunchers. And I thought it was hilarious. One of the funniest sort of labels for people, because I knew exactly what they're talking about. Now I sort of call them, the Starbucks screenplay people, the people who go over there and, sort of fake like they're doing something meaningful in the world. It's the people who eat granola. How do you know they eat granola? Well, they tell you about it. How do you know somebody does CrossFit? They tell you about it. How do you know somebody's a vegan? They tell you about it. They make sure that you know about it. Back then, 20 years ago, it was granola and whatever was going on back then. But the granola crunchers today have been modified into whatever we're dealing with, the whatever people, we have them. And so, the point is, Uncle Joe, thank you for that, right? You've been somebody who's been very, very important in my life. And a lot of those little lessons that we had conversations about as I was growing up have stuck with me into our today. They helped me become the guy that I am today. And I want to say shout out to Aunt Bev as well. My Aunt Bev and Uncle Joe, they are high school sweethearts. They have been married longer than I've been alive. And it is such a cool thing. It's such an amazing couple. And I'm so grateful that you both are in town. I cannot wait to see you. I'm heading right over there as soon as the show is over. And so big shout out to you both. Thanks for taking the time to watch the show. And so that's Uncle Joe and Aunt Bev. Big shout out to you. Thank you both. And I'm sure that the people in the chat are also welcoming you. Appreciate all that you've done for me and for the world. So thank you to you both. Also want to thank everybody over on Locals. We have some new people who signed up. I want to welcome Davis Parks. Welcome to the community. If you want to sign up, by the way, you can check that out over at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. So go check that out. Davis Parks is in the house. We have Annie Got Her Gun. Ooh, Annie Got Her Gun is in the house. We have Rust US or Rust Us. We have Lil TLC in the house. We have AB Taylor 658. Welcome. Catherine Lee in the house. We have Girly099. Welcome to our community. J_Naughty K is in the house. Black Dog 542. Welcome to you. R Holiday. We have L Crew S. We have Huggin Munnin in the house. We got a lot of people who signed up, and the list keeps going. Welcome to Daniel Barbosa. Welcome. We have Blazing Guns in the house. Saw you today. Napalm Grenade is also in the house. Texas Island Girl is in the house. Chris001, welcome. Taryn M, good to see you. Zach B is in the house. Patrick Carey 82 signed up. XXYOROY XX is in the house. And Big Truck Becca, welcome to the community. And you can sign up if you want to join in on that fun and ask questions and be a part of the show and support us and download a bunch of free great stuff and get promo codes to all sorts of stuff. Do that at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. And I want to thank all of the people, of course, who asked some questions today. You know who you are. You're on that list. Thank you for the great feedback, the great questions. And then let's give some shout outs to other people who are part of the Locals community. So we'll give some shout outs. We've got Senevis 91. We have Rags in the house. Hello to David Muir. We have Tweak. We got Whipple number 1, Dutch Girl 956. We got Sandy Paws in the house. Welcome to you. All of these people are over at locals.com. And what's so important about Locals is it's a separate platform. On some of these other areas, some of these YouTube and Facebook and some of these other platforms, you're kind of beholden to the big tech platform. And Locals, it's a lot of independent creators talking about independent things, and all of these people make that possible. We talk about this concept of the network effect, and people want to go where other people are. And so when we first started this community, it was a little bit of it was empty. Not many people were there, and that's not as fun. But when you join us over there, you help it become more fun, and you help make it so other people want to be there also. And so you're like literally helping to build a separate independent platform, brick by brick. And I just really appreciate that. That gives us a little bit more autonomy, gives me a little bit more security, makes me feel like, okay, if YouTube decides to pull the plug on us, we've got a little bit of a backup platform. And so thank you for signing up and for helping us build and fortify the show. I also want to tell you, you can download a bunch of great stuff over there. Get a copy of my Existence Systems Beginning to Winning. Beginning to Winning is available here. Existence Systems is now an online course. So on Locals, you can download the book. There's a free book, free PDF. Grab that, of course. Can also grab the slides that we went through today. Those are available for your download. You can get a copy of my impeachment party template is available there. The existence system template is also available if you're a local subscriber. And there is also a promo code for the new online course. And it's available. It's up. It's right now. If you want to go and check it out, you can go over to existencesystems.com, and it's going to walk you through how to build this. This is my existence system. When you open it up, you're going to see this is my little personal productivity tool that I use every day. And so the program is about creating a version of this for yourself. It's about going through and modifying each one of these different modules. I have 32 videos, about 2 hours and 19 minutes of content in there, and it guides you through bit by bit on how to fill out each one of these blocks, how to put your affirmations in, define your energy blocks, figure out what your life pillars are, what your mission is, what your purpose is. And so it's available now. You can go buy it if you want to join in on it. It's very inexpensive. The website is existencesystems.com. There's a promo code if you're a Locals subscriber. So go on over to Locals. You get a pretty significant little discount there. And this is what the template looks like. If you want to really take a quicker, good look at it, it's available now. And I'm super excited about it. Now, it's my first kind of attempt at a public offering like this, so there are probably some kinks that I got to work out at some point, but it's functional. I've tested it. It's there. It's ready. And so I would appreciate any feedback, any thoughts, any likes or dislikes, any constructive criticism, feedback, whatever. If you want to send that our way, I would be very, very appreciative of it, because this is something that I think I may want to sink a little bit more time into, about communicating some of these ideas in a structured way that is useful for people. And so this is my first attempt at it. And so I'd be humbled if you gave it a look. Existencesystems.com is the address. And then my friends, that is it for me. We've got nothing left. We've gone 2 hours, big, a lot of great show, a lot of content, a lot of outstanding questions. And I'm very appreciative that you are a part of the show. So I want to leave you with that final thank you. We're going to be back here tomorrow, same place, same time. It's at 4 p.m. Arizona time, 5 p.m. Mountain time, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And for that one Florida man, everybody have a very lovely evening. Hopefully you had a nice dinner. If not, get some food in that belly. Rest well. I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye-bye.